he has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J. Loren Norris.
I was just watching last night an episode of Road and Track. It was an older episode, and they were racing across the United States on what we call Route 66, the interstate that goes all the way across. And at one point they decided, hey, we're gonna go take a mountain road. Well, one of them's in a Dodge Challenger, one of them is in a Cadillac STS, and the other one is in a Corvette. And when they got into the mountain roads, they discovered something about the Challenger they hadn't even pondered before they did that. And it has a direct correlation to you living out your dreams. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Stay tuned. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and what they discovered was that the Corvette could hug those curves, and it was almost as if the curvier the road got, the more mountainous the road got, the more treacherous the turns got, the more fun the driver of the Corvette and the Corvette had. And the Cadillac STS, it did pretty good as well, keeping up with them through those high-speed turns and digging into the deep curves. But the Dodge Challenger, it would go really fast on the straightaways, and it didn't handle the curves quite as well as the Corvette or the Cadillac. Now, what does that tell us? Well, let me extend that a little bit. What if, because they did this, they went to the salt flats and they raced straight out, and they were just racing against their top speed and their time, but each of the cars had its own uniqueness in the way that it ran that straight track 1 mile race on the salt flats. How fast can you go in 1 mile? And then they tried it in a Winnebago, a big giant RV bus looking thing. And it didn't do so well. And when they swerved to make it through the slalom tracks, they broke the coffee pot, they dumped the dishes out, they turned one of the guys over in the bed. The other one said, when he came out of the necessary room, "You're cleaning that up," because it was a mess. Can you imagine, though, if you tried to use a Winnebago for a racing vehicle? Or if you tried to use a Corvette to sleep in? No. Wrong tool for that thing. I have a friend actually who has a whole group of minivans and RVs of various sizes. He's got a 40-foot, he's got a 55-foot, he's got a 35-foot. That's the one I drive from time to time. And they're all wrapped. And when I say wrapped, I mean beginning to end, bumper to bumper, front and back, top and bottom. Every inch of a 55-foot bus. That's 1,000 square feet or more of vinyl wrap. But he's found that when he goes out to make an impact in a community, to make a difference in a community, when you show up with something like that and it's fully wrapped, people pay attention. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Everybody recognizes it. They see it when it's coming, they see it when it's going. And so when you pull up and set up somewhere, they know who you are and they know where you are. And that has been really good for his branding for the last, 8 years. What I find ironic, though, is that a lot of what he does is merchandising, meaning he has hats and t-shirts and trinkets and things that he sells at big rallies and events that are going on all over the country. And the teams that he hires often In fact, in his own words, he said just recently, in the 4 years that I've owned this 55-foot Provost, I think it's called a Provost or Prevost RV, which is not a cheap toy at all. I mean, on average, new ones are $250,000. He said, in the 4 years I've owned it, no one has ever used the bathroom on this bus. Why would you have it? I mean, nobody's ever slept in it. Nobody's ever used the bathroom in it. I mean, they've had a couple of meetings in it, because if you turn on the generator and keep the AC on when it's 105 degrees outside, you can stay pretty comfortable. But generally speaking, he wraps these buses for advertising and then loads them with merchandise. I told him the other day, I think you treat your buses like a Penske truck. I don't know why you didn't just buy a Penske truck. And he said, well, the RV gets more attention. Okay, maybe it does. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever found yourself sitting at your desk, in your cubicle, on your job? Maybe you're halfway up a telephone pole when it strikes you. Maybe you're digging post holes. Maybe you're, I don't know, fighting fire, writing the 47th ticket this month. Whatever it is that you're doing when it strikes you and you think, I think I was made for more than this. I've been suppressing this dream of being an artist or an author or a singer. I've wanted to be on The Voice or America's Got Talent. All of my life I've begged to do something like that, and I keep doing these other things. See, there's really two kinds of people in the world that recognize the gift in you. The first group of people, they want to buy it out. They see that gift, that skill set, those talents that you have, that natural ability to communicate with people, that unworldly wisdom when it comes to math, the scientific discoveries, the ways that you put colors together, whether it's in photography or videography or digital creations. They look at you and they're like, wow, that's impressive. But they really don't want you to run off and be successful at it. They want you to subdue that dream and submit those talents, those gifts, those incredible abilities to them. In fact, I've been in many places where when they realized what I was capable of, I got a little bit of a raise. I got some extra perks. I got a little extra time off. I got flex time so I could, take time off when I wanted to and then work extra hard when I had to. Those are the perks that come along with being really, really good at your job. But sometimes being really, really good at your job is because you just happen to find the niche where all of your skills and all of your talents and all of your abilities come into play. Now, many leaders, many managers, let me say it that way, many managers will look at someone with a great skill set, often as someone that outpaces them. And here's what begins to happen. In fact, let me tell you from an exit interview that I had. I left a company that was basically selling off the division that I worked for, and I didn't want to relocate with them. And the CEO and I sat down for an exit interview, and he said, your job over the next 30 days is to find a job. And I said, okay. He said, now, when you find some opportunities, before you make a decision, come back to me and talk. He was about 10 years my senior, had some pretty good insights. He had built $1 million company, multi-million-dollar company. And so I went out and I put my resumes out there. I put some job applications out there. I did the interviews. I showed up at several places and got a really good feel for what they were. And then I came back to him with two offers. Two offers where they had actually told me, this is what your starting pay will be. This is what your benefits look like. This is what your opportunities are. So you need to decide by X if you're going to get the job or not. And I laid the first one in front of him, and it was ad sales for a publication that does quite a bit of ad sales in Dallas-Fort Worth. And I said, so it's this position, it looks like this, it sells this, et cetera, et cetera. He said, how many people are on the team? And I said, 5. He said, He said, is the owner still part of the team? And I said, yeah, he's actually the lead salesperson. He said, oh, yeah, okay. And I wasn't sure exactly where he was going with that. Then he said, okay, so tell me about this other opportunity. How big is the team? And I said, it was like 3,000 people. Oh, interesting. He said, and so it's a big company. I said, yeah, it's a Fortune 50 company. He said, okay, well, that's a good sign, because at your young age, at the time I was in my mid to late 20s, and he said, this is a good time where your kids are young to have the job that has the full benefits, that has the breadth of a company that big behind you. He said, I'm going to make 2 predictions, and then based on these pros and cons, I want you to consider and make your decision on the job. And I said, okay. He said, here's my prediction on the little company. All right, for all of you who are wondering right now, if you're living with a suppressed dream, I want you to listen to the advice this CEO gave me, because there's a really good chance it applies to you. You're going to see some of the magic of human relationships woven into this answer that he gave me, and you're probably going to recognize some of them in your job right now. He said, here's what I predict if you go to work with a team of 5. Chances are, because of the quality of salesperson that you are, you're going to dive in there and you're going to get out there and you're going to go get it. And it won't be long before every time you turn in an account, they're going to look at you and go, oh, sorry, that one's a protected account. I mean, we haven't actually sold anything on it in a while, but it's protected and belongs to so-and-so. Oh, well, that one, I'm sorry, that one's actually one of our accounts too, and it goes to so-and-so. And they'll literally just keep taking the commissions from you and claiming that that business belongs to somebody else's account base. And your ability to go find new business will get more and more and more and more narrow. Now, if that doesn't happen, then the converse is going to happen. And that is, you're going to sell so much, they're not going to know what to do with you. And you're going to end up in a place where it's only you and the boss on the team. Everybody else will quit because you've taken up all the commission structure. When that happens, you have no promotion ability to go up. You're stuck right there. Now, you could spend the rest of your life with the 2 of you selling out his magazine where he's making the bulk of the revenue and you're getting a commission check. But the chances are you're going to get bored with that. You're going to want to move up and move on, and there is no up to move to, so all you can do is move on. And in the entire time, you'll have no benefits. And if you ever get crossways with him, you're done. That's pretty good insight. So what about the other one? He said, well, in a big company, the challenge you're going to have is that you're really hard on yourself. Your standards of expectation, your standard of excellence is so high. I think it's going to be really hard for anybody else to keep up. What you expect of you and what you expect of others is off the charts. It's not normal. It's not what most people would expect. And because of that, you're going to drive people really hard when you become a manager. But until you become a manager, what's going to happen is you're probably going to outpace the people who lead you. And then I predict that something in the similar is going to take place, and that is that you're going to do things that your boss is going to take credit for because nobody knows it was you that did it. You're going to actually win the day, and your boss is going to take credit for the win. And there will also be times that things will go wrong and your boss can't handle the heat, and they're going to dump it on your lap and expect you to cover it because you have the skill set, you have the personality, you have the drive to keep going with that. Now, I'm not talking about me to be talking about me in this. I'm trying to indicate to you, you probably have had the same scenario where a boss looked at you and they knew that you earned the credit for the new discovery, for the new idea, for the new development, for the product, for the right hire, for the right merger, for the right relationship with another business. That was all you. You did that. That was your skill set. That was your talent. Those were your gifts that came to play to make that success happen. And yet the person above you is horrified that you might get a promotion and they might get left behind. And so they can't take the chance of acknowledging that that was your success. They have to own it. They have to call it their own. At the same time, there are probably things in your life, like there were in mine, where somebody else made a huge mistake. Somebody else fell down on the job. They were unable to carry the gap. And so I got the gap. Well, it didn't hurt me financially nearly as bad as it would have hurt them. If they had left that responsibility on that sales rep, they probably would have lost their job. But they put it on me, and it didn't hurt my job, and it didn't hurt my chances, and it didn't stop me. It just made me mad. It made me frustrated. It made me want to throw the brakes on and go, why do I try so hard when my results don't demonstrate it. When the paycheck that I'm getting is not indicative of the hard work that I'm putting in. When my paycheck isn't indicative of the results that I'm delivering. That's not good. But it bailed somebody else out, maybe 3 people, from losing their jobs. So is it being a team player to get taken advantage of like that? Well, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say a good leader recognizes your skills and your talents. They recognize the gifts that are in you, and a great leader will go one step further than that. They'll identify those gifts, those talents, those skills, and then they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, I see that you're really good at A, B, and C, or 1, 2, and 3, whichever you prefer, alphabet or numbers. And given that you're really good at those things, I see that you could do this job incredibly for a long, long time. And that's cool. That's awesome. I love it. I love having you on my team. I love what you bring to the team. I think you can make the team even better than it is. But I also know there's a lot more to you than making my team better. There's a lot more in you than making my team better. And I could incentivize you. I could pay you more. I could offer you the sweet perks and the sweet deals. Or I can help you discover what it is that you're truly made for. See, the Corvette's really good for handling curves. It's built that way. The Dodge Challenger, on the other hand, especially now with the Hellcats, they're not so good at the curves, but they do a straight line really, really well. In fact, the Corvettes and the Challenger Hellcats, that's a pretty tough race stock to stock. Maybe the Z8's a little different, but that's a pretty tough race. The Corvette versus the RV, though, that's no race at all. But you can't sleep 8 in a Corvette. See, it's about identifying what the purpose is. It's not a Penske truck. It's not made to load equipment in and out of. That's not what it's made for. It's made for having a home away from home, for being on the road and doing your job somewhere else and being comfy while you do it. Now, if you recognize that you have a very specific set of skills, a very specific set of abilities and talents, not like taken, but very specific, and you have a leader who's looking at your life and saying, I recognize some of those gifts and talents. They're similar to my own, but maybe even better. And what I'd really like to do as a leader in your life, as someone who has an opportunity to influence the decisions you make, is I'd really like to push you toward those decisions, those opportunities, those relationships at another level. I'd like to encourage you to try out for this job, to apply for that job, to move on to a new opportunity like this, not because I want to get rid of you, but because I know you're much bigger than the opportunity you have here, that you have now. And I know that a great leader will do that for you. A great leader will look at the dreams that you've suppressed. They'll ask you those questions like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? When you were just starting out, when you were fresh out of college or fresh out of high school? Well, what did you think that your life would be then? How close is that to where you are now? A bad manager, a selfish leader, they'll offer you all the perks. They'll offer you all the good stuff to make staying in the job, in the role that you have right now, a sweet deal. Odds are you're passing up on the dream that you were made for. I mean, there's a lot you can do with the motor in a RV. I mean, some of those platforms are built on the Ford F450. That's a massive amount of motor and truck and transmission. I mean, without the house on the back of it, you could probably pull that thing down the road at 120 miles an hour easily. And you could probably do it pulling 10 horses behind you. But it's not going to outrun a Corvette, no matter how many ways you modify it. Add a turbo to it, still not going to do it. Take the box off the back, still not going to do it. Get rid of all the house parts, still not going to do it. Because the Corvette's made for racing, for tight curves, fast acceleration. The RV, not so much. Now, I'm not calling anybody an RV, and I'm not calling anybody a Corvette. What I'm saying is, if you understand your differences, if you understand what you're capable of, what you're made for, and you apply those things, perhaps those dreams will come alive again. Don't sell out your dreams just because somebody asks you to stay for their sake. Just because somebody offers you the sweeter deal, the better paycheck, the raise, the perks, the days off, the benefits. Don't sell your soul for that. Don't sell your dreams for that. Oh, it's easy. There are a lot of people out there that will look at your gifts and talents and go, oh, I could use somebody like you on my team. They probably could. And it would be very much to their advantage if they did. But that doesn't mean that's where you belong. It doesn't mean it's the best utilization of everything you've been made for. And if you're not sure what you've been made for, I highly recommend you pick up something like the strengths test and figure out what your top 5 are. Figure out who you really are. And if you're really up for the challenge, join Story Power Academy. And whether you've ever thought of public speaking as your role or not, I promise you, after 90 days of going through Story Power, you're going to know more about you than you and your therapist have ever discovered. That's a promise. Spend 90 days with me, and you're going to discover things about you you've never said to yourself, you've never said to anybody else. Ask any client that's worked with me for 90 days, you're going to find that's true. Story Power is a leadership tool. It digs deep into the who that you are and helps you find ways to express that. Maybe through a paintbrush, maybe through a computer code, maybe through the things you build. Maybe it is through speaking or teaching or leading. But you've got to figure out who you are, what your gifts are. Stop trying to be a Corvette in an RV world. Stop trying to drive the mountain curves when you're made for straight lines. Stop trying to be a race car when you're really designed to be the most luxurious place to hang out. You got to decide who you are. A great leader will help you discover that and help you get on your way with it. A selfish manager, they're going to offer you all the perks in the world to make their team better because they can't live without you, and they know it. I'm J. Lauren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Lauren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Lauren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Lauren will serve you well.